And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and of course the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there. This is all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe. That's right. Hit the little beady-eyed Joe right there at the bottom right, right below Sean, to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Plus also as well, again, the Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week. This week on the Monday show that we just dropped, Josh Peterson has a great interview with the Scottish band There Will Be Fireworks. So go ahead and check that out. Plus, we had some great interviews on Friday to go ahead and hit at you. And on this upcoming Friday, John Orlando is back as we preview SummerSlam and a whole bunch more in our State of Pro Wrestling for August of 2023. So go ahead and check that out this week right there at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus, our good friend Joe Soro, who must be putting his makeup on. I don't know where he said. He said it'd be here. I said 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock's fine. Okay. You see Joe? I don't see Joe. No Joe. G.I. Joe. But no Joe. There's Joe. All right, there's Joe. Okay. Go ahead and check out Joe today, who's right on time at LakersBall.com. That's Ox1947. Plus, he owns a company which is probably the reason why. The reason why he was probably a little bit tardy was because he's probably handling SynBlades business. SynBlades with a Y.com. If you want your lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, go ahead and check out SynBlades. SynBlades with a Y.com. Also, as well, our good friends, Jamie Sweet with his 5 Things articles, and the #1 Lakers blogger that's out there, LakerTom. Go ahead and check out what they're doing today. I think everything's a little bit on the mend now between those two. Not as I guess, drama, which I know we all love the drama. I think it's actually a little bit drama free right now. Some good articles there, but LakerTom still thinking about those excellent mock trades that he does oh so well. He's either talking about them at LakerTom or go ahead and he's writing about them today at Lakerholics.com. Plus, also as well, good friend John McCallion. Go ahead and check out John McCallion as he's doing a lot of streams lately. Go ahead and check it out today at the John McCallion channel. And last but not least, if you get a chance, and I know not everyone did, please go ahead and check out the awesome interview we had with Stone Hansen. He is going to take a hiatus, leave of absence per se from the world of basketball. He said he might return someday down the road. So in our misty-eyed, very emotional goodbye to Stone, he goes ahead into depth on what he's looking at for the Lakers this upcoming season. That's on one of the back episodes right here on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts. So please like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever you can do to help us out right here at the Lakers Fast Break. All right. Well, August is around the corner, and August 4th is even closer here, coming up in just a few days, because right there on August 4th is the first eligible date that Anthony Davis can be offered a extension. That's right. He could be offered an extension for, I believe, 3 years and 168, right there around there, 167 and change. You know, when you get up that high in the millions, does it really matter? 168, let's just round it off, $1 million right there. So the question is, should he take it? Should the Lakers offer it? And is there a better deal for him down the road? These are the issues we're going to talk about today on the program for everyone out there. Plus, also, again, a little bit of that, as far as LakerTom is concerned. LakerTom's been retweeting some crazy trade ideas. We'll go ahead and maybe touch on that a little bit before the end of the show as well. I guess Sean's already like, oh, what's he doing now? What's he doing now? Yep. We'll talk about that on the show as well. But first, guys, it is Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, like I mentioned, could be offered 3 years, 168 roughly $1 million is what he could be offered. The max on that is what they can do. It's a 30% of the cap deal as opposed to the max, which he would have to wait an additional year if he wanted to go ahead and look for that. And that would get him with his early termination offer and all that, what he'd have to do, because he's one of the few contracts out there that has an ETO as opposed to a player option or a team option. He has an early termination option, which is kind of different. So he can't extend off that in a normal fashion. So if he wants even more cashola, he gets to go ahead and has to wait. He could say no to the Lakers on an extension right away. He has to go ahead and wait until next year when he could go and become a free agent and then be offered, my gosh, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum money. And that's 5 years, $300+ million. So that's something he could maybe look at if he wants to. But here today to talk about the options Anthony Davis has and the options the Lakers have in regards to an extension. Good man indeed. He is the madman for Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to talk Anthony Davis and the money he may soon or get now or get later. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. The Magic Man, great to have you here, my friend. When you're talking about, first off, whether or not you should or you shouldn't offer him, remember
Mhm.
this same guy. You're offering all that money. He has a track record of injuries. He's on the wrong side of 30. I'm just putting everything in perspective. I'm not hating as of yet, saying whether or not I would do it or not. But your thoughts on this, my friend, because there's a good and a bad. You saw at the peak in the first two rounds of the playoffs, which you got with the best of Anthony Davis. And then we all know what goes on with the rest of Anthony Davis during the course of the past few seasons as well, my friend. So would you offer him on August 4th the 3-year deal extension?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I would offer it to him in full, and I would expect that he would sign it. Gerald, yes, everything you just said is technically correct. However, uh, because he missed standard set of games that the NBA has applied to arbitrary, you know, numbers, he would have been a top 10 scorer and a top 10 rebounder. And actually, he would have won the rebounding title because he was technically averaging more rebounds than Sabonis. Um, yeah, he's north of 30, all right, but you're talking about a guy who would have supplanted Donovan Mitchell as a second team all NBA player last year had he played the requisite number of games. So
But
I would say
to throw, well,
hold
hold
on,
on. Oh, okay, I'll
wait.
let you go. Go
I
ahead.
would say Gerald, he's probably at his midpoint as far as his prime is concerned. I think he's got until like 34 or 35. I think he's still right there. I think he's got like so I think so to put things into perspective, because a lot of the times they're um, set up against one another as a dichotomy. Embiid has taken a beating so badly over his career, Gerald, that at best he's got 2 years left of being this kind of player. If the Lakers are able to solidify a role for anyone who can take up a bulk of minutes to save on Anthony Davis's body, Anthony has a game that ages well. So it's a very different composition than Embiid. And I would just say that you'd offer him that extension and he would sign it. I think it's going to be a similar situation to what happened with Dame. Um, he had options, but they offered him the extension. He signed it. I think the same thing will happen with Anthony Davis.
Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm just trying to say, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying whether or not I
I
would
know.
want it or go on. But again, you mentioned it in your, in what your answer was in regards to, well, if he can make it, well, if he can make it, well, he didn't play, but, well, he didn't play, but, enough games, but, you know, how many butts did we have over the course of the past few seasons with him since he became a Laker? How many actual games has he been able to play? What is the percentage and what's the ratio of games he's been available for active duty to go ahead and be able to play out there on the court? That if you're on both sides of the equation, that's what was being talked about, is the fact that the guy cannot seemingly stay healthy or on the court consistently for even 65 games in a season. So that's, putting it in both contexts from both sides, from the detractors to your side, what you would do. I personally would probably go ahead and offer the 3,170. I don't think he'll take it. I think he's now going to be in the fact that he's got one last chance to get a huge contract. He's got the option to go ahead and wait it out and see if he can get, have a good season, and then try and get a 5-year, $300 million plus contract, Sean. And he'll get it if he has a good season.
Yeah, he would, Gerald. He would be the hot tamale on the free agent ticker, as if he has a monster year. Yep. So you're right there. You're right there. I'll just say this. You know, I I I agreed with you when you said, the about the devil advocacy argument. Yeah, that all that is true, but you know what? Sometimes you got to, in a relationship, you got to compromise and you got to cooperate, and um that may be true, but Steph Curry, Kevin Durant have missed more games than he has over a requisite period of time. If you look at it, and that didn't preclude them or stop them from being voted to all NBA selections. But nevertheless, Anthony Davis is that one player who gets singled out for being unavailable. And we
Oh,
all know
I'd
the
single out Kawhi and Paul George as well. And the Clippers have got a big decision on those guys as well. So, yeah,
well,
same
well,
thing.
well, yeah. That being said, Gerald, has Anthony Davis missed quite a few playoff games? Because to me, he's been available
Well, the
until he got hurt.
yeah,
Yeah, he
I was
was
gonna say the
available.
Phoenix series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, he's been available. Correct.
Other than
Correct.
that, yes. Other than
Yes.
that, but then again,
So,
if I'm
well,
giving
with
you the devil's
that's
advocate,
that I
it,
okay. All right.
yeah. Other than that, but other than that, you have to keep on filling the sentences out. If you're, I mean, it's just like in the Lakers executive offices right now. It's like one side will be saying, this is what he does so well, this is what he does so well, but then you're saying, but then you're saying, other than that, then it's like there's always an asterisk behind exactly everything that he's doing. Again, for what you're getting and the possibilities, I like the 3-year extension offer for him to offer, but again,
So,
he may not take
Gerald,
it because he might be
Gerald,
betting on himself.
Carl Anthony Towns is eligible for a 4-year, like $244 million extension. Are you saying that Carl Anthony Towns is more available than Anthony Davis and is worth
No, no,
200? Oh, okay, fair enough.
no,
Because
no.
a lot of people, again, a lot of people want to make that comparison as well, right? That somehow Carl Anthony Towns has lapped Anthony Davis as he loves to brag that he's the best shooting big man ever, Gerald, right? But that's when he's playing.
But I'm just telling you that if you're talking about, why it's not a clean cut, let's just go ahead and do it
No,
because again,
no, I understand, but you know what? That's the world we live in, right, Gerald? Unfortunately, it's a double standard, and
as LakerTom says, Gerald, half glass half full, glass half empty.
yeah,
I'm just telling
it's
you that
yeah,
if
no,
you're
no,
in the
it's true
in
though, it's
executive,
true
you
that
want people telling you both sides of the story.
no, it's true, but he's also a victim of a double standard here because a lot of players of his similar ilk aren't held to the same standard somehow that he is, and it's that's a little frustrating because he has some of the hardware and uh the requisite numbers, Gerald, to back up that, yeah, he's been a very productive player. I mean, you even said it yourself. A big man like that who's been playing since he's 19, like against the highest level of competition. I mean, he's over 30 now. That's well over 10 years. So obviously, you're not going to get the 27-year-old Anthony Davis. You're getting the a little more experienced 30-year-old vet who you're trying to conserve for, as Joe has said, for the next two playoff runs, because that's pretty much it.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We are discussing the possibilities in regards to an extension for Anthony Davis. Should we? Shouldn't we? Should he? Shouldn't he? We're going to be talking about that on today's show, and some great words and great thoughts from MagicMan indeed. But also here today, good man indeed. He is the guy behind SynBlades, SynBlades with a Y.com, and Oxide 247 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. First off, Joe, great trailer with Corrupt. The story trailer debuted today on YouTube. Joe shared it out there, so please go ahead and give some love to a potential hit out there as far as an indie hit for the fighting game scene. Are you by any chance? I don't know if I didn't see a text. Are you stopping by Evo this week?
Negative. I have a new shipment that's come in another realm of business that I can't kind of walk away from at this point. But there is a big group that will be there, and this will be the first time you will be able to play Corrupt, which has been a long time waiting.
All right. Well, I wish you guys and I wish everyone, as far as the Corrupt team, all the success this weekend at Evo. It is the major game, the fighting game championships is right there for you as far as in the fighting game realm. It is the thing of the entire year for the world of fighting games. So I hope it's demonstrated well at Evo, and I hope it will get and garner some great success for you and the entire team of Corrupt, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's this is one of those things where either nothing will happen or something big will happen.
Well, let's hope so, my friend.
And if it does, we're all going to benefit from it, and I'm looking forward to it.
I do want to ask you, though, about Anthony Davis. Remember about a year ago, you said, Gerald, let's give Anthony Davis a year. Let's give him a year. Let's see what happens. So I said, you know what, Joe? I'm going to respect your wishes. I think you're right. I think we should give him a year, and let's go ahead and see what happens. And he had, at times, it was a rocky road, out of the lineup, kind of looked malaise at times, but there were times where he looked like he was one of the top 5 players in the league. Then he goes in the last quarter of the season, he starts to turn it on. You saw what he gave you in those first 2 playoff rounds, kind of faded, obviously, in the Denver series, as the rest of the Lakers did, unfortunately, and didn't get it done. But you have a chance on August the 4th as the Lakers to go ahead and, contemplate whether or not you want to give him or offer him a 3-year, almost $170 million contract. Or if you're on Anthony Davis's team, you also have the decision to make whether or not you want to take it if offered, or wait it out and maybe see if you can get later on down the road a 5-year, $300 million plus extension. So your thoughts on this, my friend? Again, this is for a player that has not played in 65 games in the season at all since he's been with the Lakers. The highest he was is in 2019. He played 62. So you have a guy that's on the back end of 30. You have a guy has not played 63 games in a season with the Lakers. Yet you're still, I think, again, with what we see, the Lakers probably will not have a choice and have to at least offer him something on August the 4th.
I think timing is what's going to help Anthony Davis here. And like most of these guys who are getting these large contracts, the timing is what plays in their favor. Anthony Davis has 2 things going for him. You can't risk not giving him an extension and not having him focused for this very, very important season. And at the same time, the Lakers are notorious for taking care of their own. Kobe's severance the last 2 years being a good example. I have no doubt that they're going to extend Anthony Davis
They're
because
going to offer, is what you're asking.
they're going to offer it, and he will take it, and it won't really be a discussion after that. It's just what it is. The timing of it is going to be in Anthony Davis's favor. I'm sure deep down, Jeannie and the crew don't want to pay him that money, but they really don't have a choice. They're going to have to pay him, and hope that he continues to kind of get into that mental part that he was in this last year, where even though he was hurt, he still played through it, which he doesn't get enough credit for. And it's sad to say that, hey, everybody should fight through their injuries or while they're hurt, but AD doesn't have that reputation, and I think it's an overblown reputation of him not being someone who's available, considering if you compare it to someone like Steph Curry and Kawhi Leonard, he's played more games than those guys in the last few years. It's just we pick on Anthony Davis. A lot of it is I wouldn't say, I don't know if warranted is the right word, but Steph Curry's done what he is he's exceeded what he was supposed to do. I don't think even Steph maybe might have seen himself winning back-to-back MVPs. Kawhi Leonard's won a couple championships, won a couple of finals MVPs with two different teams. He's kind of, overshot his potential since he came into the league. Anthony Davis is still that guy that hasn't truly fulfilled his full potential. And his full potential is an MVP. He is missing an MVP in his career. He has won at every level, college, FIBA, Olympics, the NBA, but he's never really taken over individually in a season, whether winning a Defensive Player of the Year and even more than that, it's really an MVP, because I think that's still there for him if he can play 70 games. I think he got hosed in 2020. If we didn't have COVID stop the NBA season, I believe he would have won. I don't know what happened between that March and August, but I'm still in complete amazement that he didn't win a Defensive Player. He had won that thing like 2 months in that season, but he hasn't fulfilled his full potential. He was an MVP in the waiting, and you have to pay him. You have to pay him and show the league, show future signings, future trades, future talent that this is the LA Lakers and we take care of our own, especially if they've done good for us, which Anthony Davis has helped us win a championship.
The thing, though, is let's say you are representing Anthony Davis. And again, if you wait it out, my friend, on the table could potentially be a 5-year, $300 million plus extension, as opposed to the 170 that you could be offered literally in just a few days. What are you advising Anthony Davis to do right now? Okay, I know what you would like to say because it would save the Lakers some money, but if you were actually truly Anthony Davis's representation, what would you be telling him right now?
Do you bet on yourself to get another $130 million? That's a great question. No, not Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis could have an injury that could take him out. Take what you have in front of you right now, and
he did it before. He took what was in front of him, and he just took it. And not exactly the best deal. Don't
make the same mistake guys like Schroeder did. Guys like Nerlens Noel. Don't worry. Look, I've never had $300 million or $170 million in my life, but at what point are you going to live a different lifestyle at $300 million versus $170 million? I doubt it. Might as well take what's there. Don't risk it. Otherwise, you make a monumental mistake. He won't be eating cat food, even if it does happen. And that could play a part in it. Look, I've already made $100 million in my career. The hell with it. We'll risk it. There's some there's some validity there. I could buy that too. But if Anthony Davis's plantar fasciitis, whatever they call it, breaks, he's done. He will never play Anthony Davis ball again. And that was a lot of the fear I remember last year, where what is that little thing under his foot? If that thing goes a different way, is it going to destroy his career? Is it going to be something kind of like how when Dwight Howard came to LA the first time and had back surgery, and that was essentially kind of his downfall. He never was able to become Dwight Howard of old. If I'm Dwight, I take the money that's in front of you right now and guarantee that you got that at least. I wouldn't risk waiting for $300 million.
Sean, I bring it back to you, my friend, as I unmute you here. I'm just going to say right now, again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I know if I'm the Lakers, like Joe said, you really are going to have to be forced to go ahead and offer him the 3 for roughly 170. Let's just say 168, whatever, in that range. But that 5 for 300 plus is very tempting, my friend. And that's something, again, this will, whatever the extension that he signs, it will most likely be the last major contract that he signs ever again as a NBA player. He'll sign smaller deals, maybe at the back end of his career, et cetera, but he will not be getting a huge 35 year at the age of 35 plus. He won't be getting like a huge contract like LeBron did at 35. He is going to be probably playing, looking at his largest payday here and now, or when he goes ahead and decides if he decides to take that 5 for 300 deal that could still be on the table, could be potentially be on the table. So I ask you, my friend, I've seen all the social media. I go to Twitter, X, whatever it is. I will go there and I see everybody. You just type in Anthony Davis extension and just like, oh, Anthony Davis is expected to sign an extension. Anthony Davis is expected to sign an extension. Oh, congrats, Anthony Davis. Congrats, AD. You're signing the extension. You're going to sign the extension. Everybody assumes that Anthony Davis is going to sign that extension, that the Lakers will offer him that. Is it safe to assume that that's going to be the case?
I put it at those odds. I think he's going to sign it. Something tells me that he's. See, it's interesting that phrase, bet on yourself. Bet on the situation that's in front of you. Mm-hmm. That you can see with your eyes and you hear with your ears. Mm-hmm. All this, the secret and wish it, want it, be it. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, that's a lot of cash that's guaranteed that I might not see again. Mm-hmm. It's possible, right, Gerald? It's possible.
Well, again, he has those two options. He takes the 170.
It's possible, though. I'll never see that kind of money again.
He takes the 170, and that's on top of whatever he has left on his contract, or the early termination part of it next year, and then he could go ahead and sign the 5 as a free agent, as far as the 5 is concerned. So, again,
it's very different though, dealing with a big man over 30, and you're giving him all that money that's guaranteed, because if he does sign, it may be more difficult to trade him.
That's true. But also, again, it's also 30 to 35% of the cap. Right now, if the Lakers offer him, they can only offer him what he's making, which is 30% of the salary cap. So if he does decide, hold on, let me say,
right?
Let me say this. Okay. Hold on. Yeah, the cap is always going to continue to go up every single year, up to right around 10% each year is what is expected to. But
okay.
But right now, he makes 30% of the cap. That's what his contract is prorated at right now. The rest of his years on the contract. If he has offered an extension, the 3 years, 170 roughly, is 30% of the cap. If he decides to hold out, do the ETO thing, and then go as free agent, then get signed as a 5-year deal extension on top of that, he can do it at the full 35% max. That's the difference. It's only 5% to you and I, but 5% when it comes to that many millions is still a lot of millions.
Yeah, it is, Gerald. There some people who buy
And again,
fan.
I'm just trying to bounce it off and just, telling you everybody the particulars out there.
Hey, phantoms aren't cheap, Gerald. Everyone's the interest on someone owning a phantom has gone up. Not this Obviously it's not the same if you own a Fiat or what do they make now? Do you guys still make the Cobalt?
Oh, the Chevy Cobalt?
Yeah, do you still make that?
I don't know. I'd have to go ahead and
Okay.
look it up.
Anyway, just it's different, but the interest is the same. Like he's got to look at his future too. Um, you know, Everything's going up. Cost of living, whether
I
yeah,
think he's good
Gerald.
now.
Gerald, hey, you know what? I mean, millionaires have problems too, man.
Yes,
They
this is
just
true.
don't have the same problems that we do. But yeah, I would think it would behoove him to sign the extension. And I know that Genie and some of the ownership might be gritting their teeth in that. But so if the cap's going up an average of 10% a year, his contract looks more reasonable to me because instead of eating up 30% of the cap, that extension he eats up what 20 that 1 year it's 27
Well,
and
no,
the next year it's 24.
no, but with the raises, it's the continual raises he will get. It will still be 30% of the cap.
Oh, it would be
He would get
streamlined,
it. Yeah,
really?
it wouldn't be a
Okay.
flat rate. It wouldn't be a flat
Okay.
rate.
It's
Like
not
let's say
flat.
it won't be a
Okay.
Draymond Green 4 for 125 a
Right,
year.
right,
It's going to
right.
be gradual raises as the
Okay.
league gets raises. He will get raises each and every year on top of that. So it will still be at 30%
I
of
see. Okay.
whatever the cap is. And in fact, it adjusts. Everybody sees that 3 for 167, 168. Let's say the cap does not go up 10%, then that number gets tweaked a little bit, just to let everybody know. It's basically when he signs, he's going to get 30% of whatever that cap is going forward. And if he signs the extension right away, if he doesn't, it waits it out and as offered a 5-year, if he's in free agency, and offer a 5-year $300 million plus deal, that would be off the full 35% max because he's been on an all NBA team.
Yeah, and don't give me that bull about this not being a hard cap. That what you described as a hard cap, Gerald.
Okay.
The
I'm just
cap.
letting you
I
know.
know. I know. But make it make sense. The cap is going up, and my player, his salaries are going to be going up, but yet it's still going to reflect the same. That doesn't make any.
Percentage.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. That makes no sense to me. But this is the NBA salary cap. These are the constraints that fall within it. And I'll say it again: good teams that make good decisions are punished for those decisions because life is about choices. But bad teams who don't draft well and don't develop well are seemingly um, immune from any kind of punishment or repercussions for the mistakes they make, only to have a savior once in a while fall into your lap. And now the Lakers find themselves again, Gerald. I think you're right. I think Jeannie is going to grit her teeth, but authorize Rob to make an offer for the extension. And I think AD will sign it.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. We're talking the Anthony Davis extension. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, and Joe Soro, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Please subscribe today. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Also, you'll get the latest notifications when you do on when we go live in the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Joe, again, it's not as easy and as cut dry as some people have talked about. Some people say, oh, yeah, it's easy. It's a no-brainer. He's going to sign. It's no problem. They need to offer him. They're going to offer him. No-brainer. I mean, again, with all the parameters when it concerns what the Lakers are dealing with his injury history, but also with AD, seeing that there could be more money down the road. It's not just as cut and dry as saying, oh, yeah, we got to take it. But I understand the fact that his injury history might dictate otherwise.
I don't think it matters, honestly. The timing is the thing here. You're not going to put a monkey wrench on a season that could be the last you have as a contender for a while. You don't know what's going to happen after LeBron is done. You have to hope that there's a free agent that wants to come play with Anthony Davis when LeBron is done. We don't know if that's going to happen. So you're going to commit to the guy, the one guy that's going to be here beyond 2025, and hope that attracts the second guy to say, LA loves taking care of their guys no matter what's going on. I'm going to go to LA. And it's just, that's what it is. That there's no other way to go around it.
Well, the reason why I say that, Joe, is because, again, I know that if I was in the Lakers, I would go ahead and say, you know what? We cannot lose this guy for nothing in a couple years. We got to go ahead and see what we can do to sign him up for now and get him signed away. But then again, if he says no to the contract extension, don't you think that speaks a lot right there?
If he says no, it could work out good or bad. Do you want to pay him $300 million? No, I would rather have him take the 170.
Yeah, but what if he leaves it out, and what if he banks on himself and he decides to go for that? Or do you think the Lakers should be involved in that bidding for the 5 years, 300 plus million?
I don't think so. No, if I'm the Lakers, I sit back and let him dictate what he wants to do, and you're going to have to oblige either way.
Okay, because it gets trickier if he says no.
If he says no, that means you're going to pay Jaylen Brown money to AD soon, and I'm pretty confident that you don't want to pay a guy that's going into the latter half of his career, especially 5 years. I don't know about that one. That one's going to hurt. That one's going to hurt. Yeah, I would strongly want him to take the 170 right now versus having to pay him another 130 million probably for the last 3 years. No, I'd say last 2 years.
Well, even this one, if he says yes to a 3-year extension, that is still on top of the 2 years that he has left. So he would not have the early termination.
It's better now. Better going to 36 than going into 38.
He would be 34 or 35 by the end of the contract.
Here's what they can do. It would take a lot of intestinal fortitude to do this.
I think 35.
You cannot pay him. You can't go 5 years beyond this year. I don't know. I think that'd be paying this guy what would be $60 to $70 million in his last year. You're never going to get rid of that contract. No one will pick up that contract.
That's a good chance it would be 80.
Even if somebody wanted his expiring, what are you going to do? Go get 2 max players for that $80 million? You are stuck paying a guy that's likely done $80 million in his last year. There's going to have to be some kind of revamp in this salary thing. I think they really screwed up not negotiating more. Paying somebody $80 million who's done? No.
But remember, it's a percentage. People are again, I know that everybody started saying on these podcasts, look at the percentage instead of the dollar amount. 35% is the super max at this point in time. 30% is what AD would be offered if he's offered within the next few days. That's still a lot of change. And as far as sucking up your cap, that's still going to be a lot per year. MagicMan, you wanted to interject with something?
Yeah, but like normally, Gerald, if you're going to do it like that, right? If you're going to pie it out like that, normally what happens is there's a top end and a low end. So if you're at the top end of the 30%, like it's judged like the top 10% who make the 30% of the cap in the NBA, do you fall into that slot with other players? If yes, then okay, you should be at the top end. If not, you should be towards the mid or towards the bottom of the 30, and that should be reflected in the cap, whether it goes up or down. But all these variances make it very confusing. Nevertheless, this is stupid. It's stupid. It really is. It makes no sense to me.
Well, it just, again, he's whatever he signs for an extension, it's either going to be he's either going to be 30% of whatever the cap is, or 35% of whatever the cap is.
I
If
don't
he
think
signs
he'll
it-
ever get 35% based on his injury history. He would never. You would never pay
I
that
bet you
to
Chicago would want to sign it.
him. Possible, yeah, it's possible, Gerald.
Hometown guy coming
Yeah,
back
they're
home.
thirsty. They're thirsty for something like that, Gerald. That wouldn't shock me. No, that wouldn't shock me. But however, that would be the only exception. They would be the only exception because no other executive in the right mind would go into their owner's office and ask them to authorize spending 35% on a player who's going to be 31, and now you're going to be basically putting all your eggs in one basket for, as Gerald and others have said with this, other whataboutism with him is can't stay healthy long enough to earn that kind of money. Just doesn't have the requisite enthusiasm. So there are 5 elements to a superstar. Anthony Davis only has 3. Like that's the issue too. Is there's no wow factor. There needs to be a wow factor. That's basically what Joe said. His whole career is great. It's a Hall of Fame career. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. But as Joe was basically trying to say is there's no wow factor there. If he has a wow factor year, then that changes his level.
I wish you wouldn't say that no GM outside of Chicago would be crazy enough to do that. Remember, how much did we see Houston give Dylan Brooks?
Yeah, Dylan Brooks got what was it, 90?
He got close to 90.
Million? Yeah,
close to 90.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my
so,
God.
so you don't want to retract that statement.
I'm
Just
not.
say almost every GM would do that deal. But Joe, I want to ask you this. That's crazy, buddy. And I would rather pay it 35.
Hey, you know what? If
AD
somebody
than
wants to
Dylan
spend their
Brooks.
money at a Puerto Rican, brothel, Gerald, and waste their money, why stop them? But I seriously doubt a big over the if you're not gonna give, if nobody's gonna give somebody, just I don't think so.
Joe, let me ask you this, my friend. Scarlet and Blue says, why bother doing extension now until he frees up money over the years? I don't think AD will go elsewhere. And if he does, it just allows us to bring in new talent when AD is near the end of his peak. And the one good thing Tim Bontemps earlier on the Hoop Collective said on the ESPN is that, remember, it wasn't too long ago when the Lakers weren't getting free agents to come here. There was a period of time when the Lakers absolutely sucked and they couldn't actually get people to come in here, and people were embarrassing the Lakers by not even wanting to get them an interview for a free agent job. So it can easily turn on a dime, as we've seen over the course of the years, my friend. But what do you think about what Scarlet and Blue says about the fact that we should just assume that AD is not going to go elsewhere?
That's a pretty loaded question, or a few questions there. I look back at some of the guys that were trying to come here, or the guys that we didn't get, LaMarcus Aldridge, Carmelo Anthony, when he still could play. Lakers actually dodged bullets with those guys. Those guys were not going to, they weren't going to change anything. I think timing, again, has something to do with this. And when the timing came right, LeBron James came to the Lakers with a little bit of an assistance with Magic Johnson. I don't know if LeBron comes to LA, if Magic's not there. I know it's an easy answer to say that it was because Magic made it easier, but I believe LeBron might have come anyways. LeBron had a plan for, he's the self-proclaimed king. What better way to end your career than to wear purple and gold and bring a championship to the purple and gold as the self-proclaimed king? And it happened. I think we fall into these imaginary things, and I say we, not me. I don't fall into it. I'm saying as people, because I don't think that way. We think things are going on when they're not. Just like Anthony Davis apparently is, Greg Oden to a lot of people. A guy that never plays, which is stupid. He plays more than the guys that everyone fawns over half the time. Kawhi Leonard in the preseason has won the last 4 NBA championships, right? The Clippers
Yes.
they could put a banner next to Taylor Swift's banner, which she might get a second one, by the way. For those of you who don't know, that lady is.
Well, she's not going to be it. She goes to the larger
what
stage.
the hell?
She goes to SoFi. Forget about people, the tiny little crypto, the crypt there.
Her people are creating earthquakes for her. So the Clippers are putting preseason NBA championship banners in their minds, and yet I'm sitting there standing going, well, how does that make any sense? And the signings and the performances, I don't know. It's all interpretation, and we live in a world now where if we want to believe something is what it is, apparently it is. And if you don't agree with the mass who believe it, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. Logic doesn't go wrong. Logic is logic. The Clippers have had Kawhi Leonard play the way he's played, and they've won nothing. Paul George is kind of like the second guy there, too. Anthony Davis led a team that was broken at the All-Star break and then led them to the Western Conference Finals with LeBron James. I mean, come on. I mean, when you really sit back and look at it objectively, LeBron James and Anthony Davis took a broken team to the Western Conference Finals. They had no business being there. So I want the mental part to be ready for this season, and I don't want to risk. The Lakers are worth $10 billion. Just pay the guy the money, however it plays out. Yeah, we don't want to pay him $300 million, but I have a feeling that he's going to take the 170 to be sure, get another championship, and then at that point, I don't really give a crap. I just want to enjoy the fact that we'll never have to look above or on the side with the Celtics again.
Well, if you sign him to that 3-year extension, if you're offered to him on August the 4th, you do not end up paying him the $300 million plus, but you pay him about $250 when you consider when you throw in the 2 years that he still has left, and you add on the 3 on top of it that he would sign for an extension, 3 years, 170 on top of it. So it'd be about $250 you would end up. So it is a considerable amount of savings. So you have to look at that. But Sean, again, when it comes down to it, you got to go ahead. You said right away that the Lakers should offer it. I think it's something that you got to have, and which you have an asset that still can play at a top level. And despite the injury history, you're pretty much backed up against the walls. Just like, for us, it's a lot better equation, even with our almost 40-year-old star player and another player who hasn't played 65 games. Compared to what the Clippers have to deal with, and the fact that, what do they do in regards to an extension for Kawhi and Paul George, that's even more mind-numbing. If you're not, I'm sure Lawrence Frank is getting a headache just over that. But when you come to
Gerald, why do you think Michael Winger left that place? Washington needs a GM. Hi, bye. I'll see you later. I want nothing to do with this monstrosity that's about to ensue.
Yeah,
I'll go
I
over to
don't.
Washington where they're going to let me rebuild an organization and I'll try and fix it myself. Yeah, good on Michael Winger. And by the way, Gerald, that's one of the best moves the Wizards have pulled off as an organization in the past 20 years. So hopefully
Bob
pretend.
Myers probably left. One of the reasons why is just so hard where they're at to continue to build that roster.
Yeah, it's difficult because eventually that yellow brick road ends at a brick wall eventually.
Especially with that second tax apron if they stay in it. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see what happens for both those teams and what they can do. But with the Lakers, unfortunately, again, they have to go ahead and offer him. I think they have no choice. It's you cannot let the asset walk for nothing. You cannot let Anthony Davis walk for nothing. You have to go ahead and offer him. And if you offer him now and he accepts it, it could potentially save you tens of millions of dollars. And that to me, over the course of a extended period of time,
Why
it's
make
tens of millions.
billions when you can make millions?
Millions, absolutely. Yeah, yes. I was laughed my ass off when I heard that the first time. I was like in the theater, and I was like, it's like one of those things where everybody's just like paused. Did he
Those
just
are the
say?
best
Did he
when
just
you're.
say what I thought he
Those are
said?
the best lines to remember when you're around
Yes.
people who are drunk.
That's Canadian drunk humor right there.
Yeah,
And then the
but
chair, he kept
that
doing
was funny.
this.
Do you mean when he was trying to do the 3-point turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the cart. Yeah, that
Well,
was
that
great.
that you know, Mike Myers had this, and Will Ferrell in his prime had this effect too, where you're trying to stop laughing because you've been laughing for the last 30 seconds, and then they do something else where you keep laughing and you can't catch your breath. Like it's nonstop.
they couldn't edit out James Franco laughing at whatever Danny McBride told him when he was doing that video diary, and Danny
Danny
McBride just
McBride.
just creepily
Talk
walks
about
in.
underrated. There's a movie called Fanboys where
Righteous
he
Gemstones, by the way, everybody check out Righteous Gemstones. It's
Just got
hilarious.
approved for another
yeah,
season.
and watch
Sorry,
Fanboys.
Joe. Sorry, Joe.
It's okay. It's okay. He had a role in there for like 2 minutes, and there's a scene where one of the guys. I'll just keep it. I don't want to do any spoilers here, but there's one of the guys that's in the movie. He has one testicle, and he goes up and he acts like this guy where he knows everybody's information, like he's that guy. And he goes, "Oh yeah, we know all about your Uniball." And I couldn't stop for like 10 minutes. I could Uniball. Like, where the hell did he think of that one? Uniball? Now I use that almost every day. Anytime that there's some kind of singular ball or whatever, I'm just like, why don't you go get that Uniball or something? And of course, no one knows what the hell I'm talking about.
So I ask you this, Sean, when it comes to the extension as it goes on, and once again, it's the Lakers fast break. We truly appreciate you watching and listening. Again, a lot of things to consider, Sean, but when it comes down to it, the Lakers are getting backed up against a wall, and it looks like regardless of the injury history that he has, regardless of the fact that his play sometimes comes and goes as his interest level comes and goes. We've seen this before, Sean. I mean, last season, there was kind of that lull where we weren't sure where his head was at. You know, it was kind of like weird where he was not playing to the kind of level that he was playing. Then all of a sudden, boom, started playing, like ridiculously well amongst the top 5 in the league. So your thoughts, my friend, on this? It just seems like, again, that the Lakers will offer him on August the 4th. I don't know. I don't think it's 100% done deal that he's going to accept it.
That's interesting.
I don't think it's 100%. I'm not going to say I won't be surprised if he accepts it. I just say people just assuming it online and looking at all over Twitter X and, saying it's a done deal. I don't know. If he feels like there could be that small possibility he could want to bank on himself.
Gerald, that's true. But aside from excuse me, aside from Kobe's disgruntled attitude about the direction of the team and requesting a trade. Lakers have done a pretty good job of quietly handling their business, Gerald, outside of a blemish or two here. Um, Powell and Kobe signed extensions after the first championship they won. Very quietly happened. Um, After both uh, the Lakers won in 2020, both AD and LeBron quietly just signed extensions. The Lakers don't really make a habit of being like the Houston Rockets or being like the Toronto Raptors and trying to make headlines for being in the news for all the wrong reasons, because as an organization or as ownership, you think all no headline is a bad headline. That's not true. So I actually respect this aspect of the Lakers. They try and handle contract extensions in house, and I think Joe brings up a very ardent point that AD doesn't want to be a distraction to his teammates because team comes before me with him. It's not we, it's me with Anthony Davis. So I think he eventually signs the extension, Gerald. But I think you're right. Maybe he doesn't sign it right away, but I think he will sign it before training camp.
Joe, do you think the same thing? Do you think he'll actually put some suspense into it before he agrees to it, or do you think he'll just sign it right away? I would actually hold out. To be honest, if he's so adamant about playing the four, as I mentioned to Mark or in the chat, the world's best Lakers chat room that's out there, I would just say that I would want to play, maybe hold out and say the Lakers, give me a 5, give me a 5 that can play alongside me before I sign that.
He's not like that. He's never shown any. You could say
he's not demonstratively upset.
You could say he's been. You can say he's been vocal a little bit in his apprehensiveness in not playing the 5, but he's never not done it. He's just saying, "I don't want to do it."
He didn't leave New Orleans.
He doesn't. That's the part where AD does not get enough credit, and it's also somewhat of a detriment because you can look at it also as he doesn't have that killer type mentality. Most killers like Jordan, Kobe, and those guys, they want to eat you. They want that pressure. They want to be in your face and demand things because they're demanding to be great. But AD has never been a wrench in any kind of chemistry or any kind of verbal issue. And I just don't see him. I could see him doing either one. If he doesn't sign, he's like, I'm not getting hurt and I'm getting that $300 million. And that's fine. That I totally would get it if he went that route, especially if he has a good year and they win it all. Oof, he'll get that before he even asks for it or before he's eligible. They'll know. Well, this is the second championship AD has won. It is very likely that he might end up winning Finals MVP on top of that with the way things are going. So imagine that. Imagine if he bets on himself. Let's say he sits down with his agent and he says, all right, if I sit down, am I getting this contract either way? Probably. So really, it doesn't really matter if he wins. But if he does win, I mean, there's just not going to be a hesitation, not even a little bit. And if he gets hurt, oh, well, I've made over $200 million in my career. I'll be fine. If you ask me what I would do, I'd wait.
I would wait too, to be honest with you. I think he's going to accept it, but yeah, I would wait personally. I'd bet on myself.
If he doesn't play the full year, he's not getting that money. I don't think he'll get it. They're like, look, I'm sorry, Anthony, but we can't rely on someone who's only playing 50 games a year and not winning a championship. Because that's what masked last year's injury issues with LeBron and AD is the fact that they made a run. If they lose in the play-in, it's a disastrous year for both LeBron and AD individually.
But I'll go back at you again. That's part of the reason why I think they ran out of gas. in the Denver series is because they had to play so hard in that last month and a half just to get to where they got to the conference finals. And, like you said, that feeds off the fact that they both weren't there for extended periods of time. Sean, again, it's just not as easy. It's just not as cut and dry as people think. What really wanted me to get into this conversation with you guys, Sean, was that the fact is, again, I see this online like it's a done deal, like it's a no-brainer, like it's going to happen, like both sides are just going to be kumbaya. It's going to be great. But you know what? When you look at it from both sides of the equation, whether you're on AD's or the Lakers side, it isn't so cut and dry the way you look at it.
No, not really. I mean, there are pros and cons to signing that extension, or again, as
Or
Gerald
offering
mentioned,
him that extension.
Yeah. So I mean, there are options on the table, and like you said, Gerald, it's obviously it's likely two options. It's you offer him the extension or you don't, and I mean, we know that that it's not like they're not going to offer it to him; they will. So it's just a matter of a fait accompli whether he wants to accept it or not. I think he will, just based on a number of factors here, but one being I understand what you're saying, Gerald, about him potentially uh, going to a situation where it's a big payday. However, um, you'd also have to remember that for him to do something like that, he'd be risking a lot, because if he went to a situation like that, Gerald, despite what everybody thinks, he's not based on material possessions like uh, a lot of other people are. He doesn't um, value is different for him than other people. Like, value for Joel Embiid is winning an MVP, winning a Defensive Player of the Award, being admired and adulated. That's what value is to Embiid. Value to Anthony Davis is being as healthy as he possibly can be, and being the ultimate disruptor on defense to help his team win championships. He's about winning. That's what he's about. That's his value. That's his value system. His value system is winning, not personal adulation, admiration from the comment section like Embiid does.
Joe, do you agree? Concur with Sean on that? But again, for everybody out there, I just don't think it's as cut and dry as people think, from both sides of the question, both the Lakers and Anthony Davis side. I just think that it will get done. I think because the Lakers are backed up against the wall, and Joe said it best on that. It's just ultimately what it looks like is going to go ahead, especially based off of AD's injury history and what the options the Lakers ultimately have.
It's timing. The timing is in favor of Anthony Davis. I don't believe Washington or Portland wanted to pay Damian Lillard or Bradley Beal the money they paid them at the time, but they had to. They had to, due to obligations to the CBA, as well as this was their franchise player. The timing is everything. It really is. These contracts that you're seeing in the NFL too, that are not, you've got the most recent one, which is Justin Herbert. He's now the highest paid player, I think, ever.
No, it's got to be a football player, yeah.
No. The NFL, man, come on.
Oh, we use just the highest played. You said
in the NFL. That's what I'm talking about.
You're at the NFL next time.
You're on no sleep. We get it. We get it, brother.
Freaking guy over here, man. Anyways,
be specific.
And you know that's what it is, because every time I see within the last 3 months, you got Jalen Hurts making 50. This next guy making 50.2. Then the next one is 50.5. Now I'm sitting there going, Patrick Mahomes is sitting there with a cigar going,
Ready to cash in.
So that's what the NBA guys, they're just sitting there going, all right, if I time this the right way, I can get 300. Jaylen Brown come on, Jaylen Brown. And this is not anything new. A lot of people
And
don't.
Jason Tatum's just sitting back saying,
Well,
look what I got next
Jason
year.
Tatum. Yeah, you're going to pay two guys practically the entire salary cap at some point here. And it doesn't matter how high that sucker gets; it's not going to get that.
No,
high
they'll be
year.
70% of the cap.
Terrible. Yeah, and then they can't trade those guys, so you're going to be two guys in the merry minimums, just like Shaq and Kobe back in the day. Except you're not going to win anything. It doesn't really matter though, because the Lakers LeBron's coming off the books in 20. Sorry, you want to say something, Sean?
Go
I
ahead.
saw you're like,
yay!
And then you stopped yourself.
Thank you, insert for subscribing. Go ahead,
Sean. You sure?
Don't be shocked.
All right. Anyways, so no, if that was me, I'd be like,
okay.
So I was getting worried there because I know you've had a busy couple of days. You were like this for a second.
Busy's not the word, guys. That's just that's the life.
And there was no blinking. You're almost doing the Charles Manson thing. I was getting kind of worried.
That's good. It's okay. I'm doing fine.
All right.
Anyways, so the timing of this is what's going to play in favor of the Anthony Davis camp. Anthony Davis can play. He can play it however he wants and still win. You're talking about a guy who will end up probably making $500 million when it's all said and done. Warren Buffett said it best: after 50 million, it's all the same. I have no basis in my personal life to say what that is, but what is Anthony Davis's goal? Is he want to be Aaron Rodgers, where he gets the most money, or does he want to be Tom Brady, where Tom Brady continuously took pay cuts or less money than he could have to make sure that he had chances at winning Super Bowls? So does Anthony Davis reminds me, if I had to use a comparison, Anthony Davis reminds me a lot of Troy Aikman. He's that guy that has just astronomical talent, and you don't ever really see him you never saw him go after records. The guy, I think, had like 13 touchdowns a few of those years, but that was easy because he had the greatest offensive line that ever lived with Emmitt Smith in the back, so he didn't need to really pass, but he was still a threat. That was what made him great. It was, you couldn't just zone in on Emmitt Smith, otherwise he'd pick you apart with Michael Irvin or Jay Novacek or Alvin Harper. So Anthony Davis reminds me very much of a Troy Aikman, where you don't ever hear him complain and is it my team? Is it this? And he just goes about his business. I don't think he's interested in breaking records or anything like that. He just wants to come play, win, and go home. And if he doesn't win, he understands life is still good. Does that make sense? That's it. We got a guy that Anthony Davis is one of the most stressless players of that caliber I think I've ever seen, at least as a Laker. You know, Shaq had drama, Kobe had drama, Magic had drama. Kareem, I don't know if he really had drama. Kareem always was kind of cerebral when it came to basketball. His stuff was more outside the game, so I don't know if Kareem ever really created problems within the team. Worthy also was never an issue. So again, we got a player who just doesn't get affected by certain things that we're used to guys of his caliber being affected with. He's never not a Durant by any means, even a LeBron. LeBron and Durant have shown some things in their careers that have been irritating. But I haven't seen it with Anthony Davis other than the fact that he goes to the locker room once again.
Well, again, that's something we have to consider.
Is that a scarf, Sean? Or a shawl? What the hell are you wearing? Is that a jacket?
It's a vest.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a vest. It's one of those Costco vests, Joe.
Okay. I know that one of your vests.
Costco t-shirt.
All right.
Everybody,
it's pretty good, right?
Our chat room was getting kind of bothered by you wearing a vest the other day because of how hot it was, and we're just like, you were the envy of everyone out there because of the fact that
because I was in air conditioning.
Because you were in a vest.
I was in a vest.
I've never seen anybody wear a vest over a jersey. That's why. I think Master Grice Theater, there's a little bit of Master Grice Theater-ish going on here. You just need to shift to that angle you were at that one time.
It's amazing. It's amazing Joe brought this up because I pretty much have completed the composition of what's coming up. I think I have a good name too, but I'm going to run it by
I don't think you realize how funny it's going to be when the production value is there.
I'm going to run it by the management here to see how it will go.
We've been solicited to do more shorts. It is going to be epic shorts. Seriously, it's good. No, there's no hope. It's going to be good.
Okay. Gerald's concern is we'll go a little over the top, but
you don't need to.
Never stopped you guys.
You don't need to go over the top.
It's tasteful, Gerald.
You remember? Okay, you remember? Do you remember the Paul Mooney Negro Damas skits?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be short and sweet and never ever bad.
I love where you go with that concept.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Once again, it's the Lakers
divorce play. I'm telling you guys, man, this has been the year of the divorce around me. Unfortunately, it's negative, but I had no friends up until last September who have had any divorces. I'm 45, or I was 44 at that time. And then all of a sudden, between September and March, 3 of my friends got divorced. I'm just like, damn, what the hell's going on? What's in the water? Residual from COVID? I don't know what, but yeah, man, it's out there. It's more funerals and more divorces are coming.
And on that note, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you.
Sorry, I had to go. I had to tail into your morbidity from last week to now.
Oh, now you just capitalized on it too.
It's okay. Everybody's got to go at some point.
Yeah, and could be after Joe says.
Lately, it's been the husbands.
Could be sooner rather
than
later. Before we head on out, MagicMan, you have got a special guest coming tomorrow for a show at 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So it is going to be an earlier show for our Eastern Coast individuals out there. What do you have planned for everybody out there for the Lakers Fast Break again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern?
All right, Gerald. So there's been a lot of talk. Obviously, the talk of the summer right now is stalled trade talks between the Blazers and the Heat, and obviously the scuttlebutt and hullabaloo surrounding Dame. So I'm having a special guest on tomorrow. His name's Daniel Riccio. Daniel comes to us via the Hot Hot Hoops podcast and the Hot Hot Hoops Substack. He's a great writer, Gerald. I was introduced to him when he was eloquently writing about what Udonis Haslem meant to not just the Heat, but the Miami community. And we're going to get his thoughts on what he thinks about the upcoming season with the Heat and his observations about what he thinks Gabe Vincent will be like as well.
And that's going to be tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here, wherever you get your Lakers Fast Break podcast, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Kick, the whole 9 yards. Go ahead and check it out today. Or if you're listening on audio, you'll get this the next day right here at the Lakers Fast Break audio feed. So, guys, it's been great talking to Anthony Davis. Again, we will find out later this week in regards to whether or not he goes ahead and decides to take up the offer, or he decides to go ahead and say, you know what, I'm better off as is, and I'll just wait it out. So we'll see. I think he takes it, and I think they offer to him. I think it's going to be something that's going to be a little bit more cut and dry. But again, there's always that chance, and there is options available to him. So if it gets a little sticky and it gets a little messy, we'll report it for you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Joe, Sean, great to have you here as always. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out?
I'm excited about getting through August because we need to get to basketball now. I'm dreading this dead month, which is August. It's dead in every sport. I know preseason's coming, but no one cares about the preseason in the NFL. Baseball blows right now, even for
and
those
that's
teams
with your Dodgers winning.
Yeah, the Dodgers. The problem with the Dodgers in the regular season is I've been teased enough the last 5 years to where I swore off the regular season for 2023. I barely watch a full game during the regular season. Last year, I watched more baseball than I ever have in a season in my life, and I was excited, and it was we were primed and ready. And to win only one playoff game because of a continuous clueless manager or management of the lineups, of the pitching changes over and over again, it just becomes, it burns you out. It burns you out that I wasted so much bandwidth watching things on my phone and things like that for what? So that they can win one game? One! After winning 111. And right now they have no pitching, and our only savior that's available is possibly Justin Verlander. The only thing good about Justin Verlander coming to LA is his wife coming with him. That's about it.
Knew you were going to say that.
And of course, Max Scherzer goes to Texas, where apparently, I don't know what Texas Rangers, I don't know if they have oil money behind whatever they're doing, or chic money. I mean, those guys just continue to spend money, and I don't know for what reason. I don't know, but I'm ready for NBA basketball. I'm ready for the Lakers. I'm ready to get the ball going here, man. I really want our show to start getting to another level here, and we need basketball to do it.
Absolutely, indeed. But once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Again, Search and Destroy. You do an amazing job of helping us moderate the best Lakers chat room that's out there right here at the Lakers Fast Break. All props to you. You just done a great and sensational job each and every time out. Please get us to 1,000 subscribers, just like Search says. So please, if you have someone in your life that's a Lakers fan, please let them know about us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for MagicMan Sean Grice, who's got a great interview lined up for tomorrow, and Joe Soro from SynBlades and LakersBall.com. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Once again, we're going on a little earlier for you East Coast people out there. It's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. I know for the people on the West Coast, it's a drive home, but make sure you go ahead. If you can't catch it live, catch it right after. Got a great interview upcoming right here tomorrow. Of course, the only place you can go for Lakers news and information, right here, the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Have a good evening, everyone. Stay safe.